Hey, what's good? Good morning. So I got a bit of a rant this morning. Um, so bear with me to the end. I'm making a whole point, and my ADHD, but it takes me a while to like loquaciously say something sometimes. But I swear, I got something to say that is probably relevant to you, especially if you're thinking about that growth mindset kind of stuff, or like if you think about putting hard work in and not paying off or showing in front of you, that kind of thing, or life stuff. Anyway, uh, so like something I've been thinking about, I don't know why lately, is just like, if God exists, why did slavery happen? And I'm specifically talking about like the slavery that affects my lineage of American chattel slavery, which was a particularly violent and brutal form of slavery. That I don't know if a lot of people realize that, because we don't really read up that much on like the actual nitty gritty of slavery that happened in this country, as much as like it happened and then like but anyway, I digress. And so yeah, like what is God and that kind of stuff, and like thinking about those kind of things, and like um one conclusion I've drawn is, I don't think God is this like white dude in the sky just moving around chess pieces. Like when I think of God, or when I say that, I'm kind of talking about like this energy that exists in the universe, that is of love and creation, and that connects us all, like and that is a part of us all. And when we choose to align ourselves with that, we tend to attract people that are more into that thing, of love and creation, and we increase the chances of us running into like more love-filled things. But of course, there are bad people out there who do bad things, or evil. And when I say evil, or the devil kind of mindset, I mean like that destructive, hurt others, take from others, antithesis of the giving, symbiotic mindset, just taking for yourself. That and so when in this example of like slavery specifically, I think it's about human accountability. It's not necessarily whether God or the devil were moving pieces. It's about human beings aligning with certain energies and deciding to treat other human beings a certain way. And so even if they were beating their slaves and like quoting the Bible as they were doing it, these people were energetically aligning with the evil or devil spirit, and taking and leeching off of other people's hard work, and that sort of thing. And so like I get going back to like me, and like why I kind of like get to these mindsets, and I think about my life and like the ways I work hard and like put in my effort or try to be a good person, and like don't always see the returns from that, in terms of like physical, like, or financial, or respect rewards, like putting the work in at work, and like going hard, and I work in the tech industry, and I've been in it like a decade and a half, and like I've learned a lot, and I've been doing this business for a while, and currently I'm in a position where I'm a senior in my field, but like I'm not being called that at my job. I'm not getting paid that, and then I see people around me who like don't put as much work in, or like I'm having to like help them out with certain parts of the system that they don't really understand, and help out them out with troubleshooting. I see them all doing, and they got a higher role than me, or higher position. And then like think about like my music career, and like again, I've been doing this. I mean, I started trumpet at 10. I was always hardcore since I was 10, but like this particular trumpet one act, I've been doing it probably again like a decade and a half, or like a little more. And when you look at my numbers, or like my like fans or whatever, all that like superficial stuff, not superficial. If you're a fan of my music, you're beautiful and I love you. Thank you for that connection. I'm glad we're connected. But in terms of those like metrics or data, it doesn't look like I'm a person who's released 6 albums, and like who's upgraded my skill level and my playing. And so it's definitely a struggle, and gets frustrating, especially as an emotional artist. Like how do you not take that internally? Why, like going back to like, why would God make this happen? And then like taking a step back from that, and being like, okay, maybe God isn't this dude moving a chessboard. Like, yes, I can align with these energy of love and creation, and even though the numbers may not add up, I can look back and like even like most recent shows, I know I create music that connects with people and heals people and brings people joy in their lives, and that there's no metric or data for that, and that means something. Just because the numbers are at where they're at now doesn't mean it's not gonna go anywhere. But yeah, so my point is there's a choice of response in these scenarios. I could get bitter and angry, which I have in the past, for sure. And that can just drag me down, and that could drain my energy creatively and disable me from being able to create more, or just like start getting into negative and bad habits that are more destructive. And I don't know if I said this early in the rant, but like when I talk about God, I'm talking about love and creation and that symbiotic like relationship. And so like I could choose to align with that, or I can choose to align with the destructive energy and be like, okay, because this happened in my life, it doesn't matter, F it, I'm gonna stop trying and just like stop contributing to society because I'm not getting what I think I deserve. And I think that's where that growth mindset and that accountability comes in, and that it's like a decision we all have to go through in our lives with like, why are we doing what we're doing, and like are you aligning with what you're aligning with because of how people look at you, or because that's truly what you want to do? And so I have that choice. And so like with the work scenario, like I got choices. I can get bitter and angry and just go in and be like, F these people, like they all out to get me. Or I can go in and I can keep on doing my thing and be like, okay, maybe these people will recognize me, and I can also look for other jobs and be like, hey, maybe some other people will recognize, because sometimes that stuff turns around. Like we've had leadership changes at work, and sometimes people just take a bit to recognize you, and sometimes you just gotta like, okay, let me see all my other options and like check them out. Remind yourself of your worth, because your sense of worth has come from inside. If you try to get from other people, good or bad, you always gonna be stressed because you always at the whims of other people. And so it comes down to like, what kind of person am I gonna be? And that's that growth mindset. And so yeah, with work it's a struggle, but like yeah, to me it's also a challenge to take accountability for the kind of human being I'm going to be, and am I going to let people's responses to me determine the kind of human being I'm going to be, whether it be at work or my music career, which I hope one day will nuke I believe one day will nuke my need for these work careers where I'm having to work for other companies that aren't myself. So yeah, that's the choice I've decided, and I may like doubt it sometimes, but then I get stronger, and it's like, to me, that's the growth mindset and accountability. And to give another example, like say you have somebody who grows up in an abusive household, like twins, and like you hear that story, like one becomes a criminal and like a deadbeat like parent, just like their parents were, and the other becomes like a high-powered like person. They make money, they become like the best effing parent ever, because it's a choice. Like you can use your situation as an excuse to be like, to align with, again, like these destructive take energies, or you can use it as an impetus or like a catalyst to be like, okay, I'm not going to generate these feelings, I'm not going to generate this kind of space for anybody else, and what can I do? And I think that's the growth mindset and the accountability. And another biography I think that does a great example of this is Nelson Mandela's autobiography. Because I remember like when I was seeing my struggles, it was like Nelson Mandela sat in prison for 20 years just trying to make life and get equality for his people. Like the amount of strength that takes, and like reading his book is beautiful. It really teaches you about what leadership is, and when you hear all this stuff like about like forgive thy neighbor and stuff, and it's like, that sounds crazy. Like how can you just like be all chill with somebody who's like being like just super rude to you? And it's like, it's not necessarily about not standing up for yourself. And it took me a while to get this. It's not about not standing up for yourself or not like or tolerating abuse, because he didn't. That's why he was in jail. He wasn't tolerating that. But like, it's about believing in this God or love or this creation force that is within everybody, and not letting anybody take that from you no matter the situation. So you see him talking about when he's in prison, and then when he gets into prison, these guards, like, they've got this rhetoric about who Nelson Mandela is, and they like treating him like crap, and like they treat him and his boys like crap. And like Nelson Mandela, he's doing like hunger strikes and all this stuff, and throughout this process he continues treating the guards with respect, because how we treat others is a reflection of ourselves, not a reflection of the other person. And so like when people treating you like crap, it's a reflection of who they are inside. And so Nelson Mandela, he's still doing his things, he's still polite, and he's like, no, we deserve like proper clothing, and we deserve like proper human rights, and he sticks up for it. And he was in prison for a long time, so eventually like some of these guards, they started seeing him for who he was, which was an actual human being full of love and light. And he broke some of them down with love, and that's what it is, like, because he was connecting to that person, that good person, and like they couldn't help but connect with him. And like by the end, he was like chilling in like his, like, I don't know, prison apartment or something, and like people were like a lot more polite with him and like a lot more respectful with him. And like that's like an example of like just leadership and like how leadership works. And so like, to like bring this all around to my rant, it's not about what God may be allowing or not. I don't know, that's above my pay grade, but it's about accountability in life. These scenarios happen, nature, chaos happens to us, other human beings happen to us. Will we always have a decision of how we're going to react to it and the kind of life we're going to lead? And I hope to create a soundtrack with my music that encourages others to continually choose that growth mindset, to continually choose that best version of themselves, because the bad's going to come no matter what happens. Whether you choose the growth mindset or the destructive mindset, it's all going to come at you. But we're more likely to run into the kind of experience we want if we continue to choose that growth mindset. Because I don't know if you've seen these shows like American Greed or whatever, like, yeah, there's some people, they do bad and they get away with it, but a lot of people don't. And like, even if people are getting away with it in society, like, you gotta look at what that does inside yourself as a person, the kind of experience it creates within you, and the kind of people that it ends up attracting to you, and like the enrichment and nourishment you're getting out of existence when we decide to be a taker or a lover or a giver. It makes a difference. And I know it's not always like seen on paper, but that shit matters, and it doesn't necessarily mean shit will never turn around for you. And then like one more rant, like I recently was learning more about my grandfather, who I didn't really know, and he was a black, yeah, obviously he's black, but he was a firefighter in DC, and like yeah, he was a firefighter in DC, and so he was in the black department, and then they integrated, and so he had to go to the white stations because they mixed everybody up. And he had to go through some truly traumatic and like horrific, like racist stuff and like violence and kind of stuff. And he was like a button-up man, like very polite. He just work hard, go home, pay your bills, be with your family, buy a house, like that kind of man, like just doing everything right. And he tried to fight for justice, and like he never got it. And like that, there's a lot of that kind of silent contribution to the growth of humanity that never gets really appreciated. Like men like him, or like while I asked the question, like, why did God allow slavery? Slavery did end, and like while we still don't have complete equality, like it's not like black firefighters can like be with white firefighters, and it's not like it was for my grandfather. And so progress happened because more humans decided to align with that love part of themselves, that growth part of themselves. And when slavery was happening, not just black people were like, hey, this is wrong, maybe we should stop doing this. And to conclude my rant, I think it all comes down to accountability. And when we look at the pain that humans cause in the world, we don't need, or the good that humans cause in the world, we don't need to blame anybody else but human society, and we all have to make a choice, because everybody can make an excuse for why it's okay that they treat others badly or they be a taker, or we can contribute meaning to our suffering and make it a reason to be good to each other and to continue to grow. And so that's what I believe, and I believe that the more of us that are in that mindset, the more healing and peace we will find as a people, and that it's up to us as a people to bring ourselves into the light. And I think that's what many of these religions are trying to tell you in different ways. It's, we have to connect to this God love essence if we want to get there as a people, and we got to take accountability and that growth mindset. So to end this rant, if you're here at the end of this rant, that is beautiful. Thank you for joining me. I hope this gave you some perspective, and I'd like to hear your perspective on like all that kind of stuff, and thinking about suffering and like not getting what you deserve and turning that around, and like how you live your life, or whatever your reaction is to this. Like yeah, if you made it this far, like comment like a cowboy emoji or something, because I think that's so cool if you made it this far. All right, have a beautiful day. Stay lovely and stay growth mindset. Stay focused. I got that soundtrack for you to stay focused and growth mindset. Trumper one. Peace.